I fell in love with my best friend's father, and he did not know. I had expected a lot of things for my birthday, but it definitely did not turn out the way I expected it to. Well, someone does not seem to be in the mood for Christmas cheer, Jake said, his eyes sparkling. I jumped a little. I had gotten very lost in thought. I had been feeling sad all day. I felt my mood lift for a little bit because of the twinkle in his eyes. I just knew that we were about to play the Christmas game, which was his favorite. I am fine, I said. I scolded myself. My best friend Joseph's parents had been kind enough to invite me to spend Christmas with them. They even bought me a cake and a present. My parents were not home. They had gone out of town to meet with my granddad. I heard them talking about having to beg him to give my dad his inheritance early. Joseph's parents found out that my sister and I were home alone, so they decided to have us over. Mary and Jake were very good people. I had seen more of Jake than Mary because she was often out of town for work. They were the sort of cool parents that wanted had be addressed by their first names. Jake always cheered me up. There was just something about his effortless charisma that always made me feel better. He had been there for me to talk to lately after my boyfriend Chase broke up with me. Sometimes I'd come all the way from the other side of town just because Joseph let slip that he came home early from work. Fun fact, Jake was one of my first crushes. He was in his 40s, had naturally gray hair, and the most attentive-looking eyes. He looked younger than he was, despite his graying hair. Mary and he had Joseph when they were teens, so they were still pretty young. "Time to guess who bought the present," Mary announced cheerfully. Everyone screamed in delight, and the game started. I got some very nice presents, but the one that caught my eye was an antique watch. It had a very elaborate and intricate design that caught my eye. I guessed it was my sister that bought it for me. She was obsessed with period dramas and always made sure to incorporate them. "You are bad at guessing. It was not me," she said. Sarah, Joseph's sister, and she looked at each other and snickered. "We got you something a bit more youthful," Sarah said. I just rolled my eyes at those two, always up to no good. "It was actually us, Mary and me," Jake said. I felt a flutter in my heart. That was very thoughtful of them, and it looked so expensive, I could not possibly keep it. I tried to return it, but he would not have it. "Do not worry too much about it, just accept it. You have just turned 22. Jake smiled. I felt bad accepting the gift from him. He had already done so much for me. My parents and I were not getting along well lately. They wanted me to give up my dreams of studying further because they would not fund them. When I suggested that I could get a job, they said I could, but I would have to quit school. Instead, they wanted me to help them get out of their debt. I did not feel that was fair. We were in this position because of my dad's bad financial choices. "Thanks. This is the nicest thing that someone did for me today." I smiled at him. He nodded because he understood the hell I had been going through with my parents. It kind of felt like it was just the two of us at that moment. I had to shake my head to get myself back in the moment. The truth was, I still had a massive crush on him. Sometimes, I would catch him doing something mundane, and my insides would turn into butter. There was just something about him that made him so irresistible. But he was a married straight man. He would never look at me. The chances of that happening were minuscule. "Dessert is ready," Mary yelled. We all stood up and went to get dessert, even though some of the presents were not opened yet. After dessert, the girls announced that they were going next door. They had a sleepover with one of their friends. "I have to go and video call my girlfriend," Joseph said. "Let me help clean up," I said to Joseph's parents. "I could use a drink," Mary said. "Get one for me too," Jake said. When she came back, she had 3 glasses. She handed one to me and winked. "It's your birthday." I smiled back at her as I accepted the glass. The 3 of us worked together to clean the mess in the kitchen and living room. As I was cleaning the living, I realized which present my sister must have gotten for me. I took the present with me to the kitchen where there was a pair for scissors for me to open it. By then, the wine was making me feel all warm, nice, and fuzzy on the inside. I was humming a little bit, so I did not hear Jake approach me from behind. As soon as I opened the present, there was a loud bang and confetti fell all over the place. My fast reflexes helped me, but the person behind me was not so lucky. He screamed and then spilled his drink all over me. It was like a scene from a comedy film. Jake and I looked at each other for a few seconds, and then we laughed. Now I know what the snickering was about. I laughed. A Jake in a box. How original of my daughter, he said. I looked, and sure enough, it was a Jake in a box. I was about to ask what he meant by that when he showed me another present he was holding. You took the wrong box. This one is yours, I think, he said. I checked the wrapping paper, and sure enough, it read Jake, not Joey. Oh no, I said as I made to take off my shirt, which was now soaked in wine. It was red wine, the most difficult to get out. Let me take that to the laundry basket for you, he said. He grabbed my shirt and was out. Come with me. I can get another shirt for you. He stopped at the entrance of the kitchen. I did not have to be asked twice. I followed him. When we got to the laundry room, he put my shirt in the basket and then started going through some of the clean clothes. I should have something of mine that you can fit into. He smiled. I did not fit into any of my friend's clothes because I was taller than him. I was the same height as his dad, who was built quite muscular. I found myself watching him as he looked for my shirt. My focus was on the way the shirt was tightening up as he looked deeper into the stack of clothes. That and the wine suddenly made me wonder what it would be like to have those arms around me. Now that I was drunk, it was hard to admit some of the not-so-innocent thoughts I had about him. I shook myself off and concentrated. After a while, he emerged with a shirt. Thank you so much, I said. Do not thank me. I should be saying sorry for spilling that wine on you, he said. I was about to reach for the shirt when he suddenly grabbed my hand and shook his head. Spikes went through my heart. What are you... Oh, I said, when he used a towel to wipe my torso, which had been stained by the wine. We both looked at the cloth, and suddenly I realized just how close we were. Thanks, I whispered. My pleasure. His voice was husky, and maybe it was my imagination, but those eyes had a certain look in them, almost as if he wanted to kiss me. Before I could stop myself, I leaned in close and kissed him. I captured his lips in mine and did not move another second. All we did was stay that way and kiss. I swear I felt more in that kiss than I had doing more things with Chase. In fact, I did not even remember who Chase was at that moment. Everything was just so extra sensitive. He breathed out and I felt it, opening my eyes to look at him. Fire. His usually attentive, calm, and comforting eyes were on fire right now. He leaned in closer to me and started to grab my hair. Oh gosh, it was like I had been waiting a long time for this. Nothing mattered at all. What the hell, Jake? He is a kid, Mary screamed. She pulled me off her husband in 1 second. In the next second, she slapped him across the face. My heart thundered in my chest as I realized what I had just done. He was my best friend's married dad. Gosh, why had I decided to drink when I do not usually drink? Forget about liquid courage. This was liquid stupidity. Honey, I can explain. For the first time ever, Jake sounded nervous. He was looking between me and his wife, and he looked super scared. Why did you do this to me? With your son's best friend? She hissed. I am so sorry, Mary. It was me. I had too much to drink, I said. Go to sleep. I will drive you home in the morning, she said. I was frozen, not sure what to do. Now! She raised her voice, which was enough to make me scurry out of that room. The next morning. Thanks for the ride, Mary, my sister chirped. Thanks, Mary, I managed to choke out. I could not even look her in the eye. She has just dropped me and my sister off. Breakfast had been awkward. When Joseph asked, I told him that I had a wine hangover. Come on, really? You guys had wine without me? He whined. Yeah, because you were busy video call with your girlfriend, I teased him. Well, maybe you should get back in the game since you are so jealous, he said. I locked eyes with Jake and then looked down again. I could feel Mary staring daggers at me. Soon after, I said that I wanted to go back home because I had plans for the day. Now that I was back home, I made my way to my room and locked myself in there. I replayed what happened over and over again until I could not believe it. I knew what I had to do. I had to tell Joseph. He was going to hate me, but at least he would know the truth. A week later, I could not stop thinking about that kiss. I was feeling so guilty and itching to tell my best friend what happened. I started to draft a text to send to him for the millionth time that day. I was worried that he already knew because he had been very distant lately. I could not do it. I could not send the text to him. So, I erased it like the coward that I was and just replied that I was fine to him, asking if I was okay. Later that day, I was making dinner. I like to cook, just to give my mom a break sometimes. She'd been working so hard lately. I figured that things with my granddad did not work out well. Just then, there was a knock on the door. "Joey, it is for you!" my sister shouted. "Let the person in!" I then heard her arguing with someone, but I could not tell what they were arguing about. I thought maybe she was telling the person not to disturb me. I had already kicked everyone out of the kitchen. "No, you have to let me pass. I have to talk to him right now. It is an emergency," Joseph shouted. I froze. He sounded angry. Oh no, he found out what happened, and he was about to wipe the floor with me in my own parents' kitchen. I turned around just as he budged into the kitchen and shouted, "My mom and dad are getting divorced." I heard my sister gasp. I also felt the air leaving me. Oh no, what had I done? I was a homewrecker. "I am so sorry, Joseph. I have no idea what to say to you right now," I started. Maybe he would forgive me? "No, do not be sorry. It is not your fault. It is that selfish woman who has decided to choose her career over us. I knew it was coming, but right before New Year's? She is selfish." He shocked me with his words. "So, he did not know what I did?" "I am so sorry about that. Please sit down. Let me give you some food. Have you eaten yet?" I scrambled to find what to say. For the next half an hour, he vented to me about what was going on with his parents. Meanwhile, I felt terrible. I needed to talk to Mary so that she would not leave him. It was all me. He stayed for dinner and eventually left. He said that he was waiting for his mom to leave since she had a flight. He could not stand to be in her face. I felt terrible. He needed to know the truth. There was no way I was letting that sweet woman take the fall for all this. The next morning, I was unable to sleep as I thought about what happened with his parents. Clearly, it was my fault, and I needed to do something to fix it. I needed to talk to Jake, so I texted him that we needed to talk. He agreed, and we set up a meeting during the weekend. When I couldn't hold it in any longer, I apologized to him for kissing him. I knew I had crossed a boundary there, and if they were divorcing because of me, I had to take the responsibility of that. But Jake quickly replied that it wasn't entirely my fault. That weekend, he is going to be out getting the pizza for about 30 minutes. "We can talk," Jake finally said. We had been sitting across the room from each other, trying to act normally for hours. Joseph was none the wiser. We had been trying to get a moment alone for ages, but Joseph was always there. Eventually, his dad sent him to get pizza, but at a pickup-only place. "Sure, let's go, bro," he said to me. "Actually, I need to show Joey how to set the time on the watch I got him," his dad said. "Yeah, I have been struggling," I added, catching the hint. Now that he was gone, we had to face the elephant in the room. "I am sorry that your marriage ended because of me," I said. "Actually, it was over even before that," he said. He looked at me for a while. "There's been a good number of issues in our relationship for a while." "What do you mean?" I asked. "Mary and I were already struggling even before the two of us kissed. With her working so far away, there have been fights and misunderstandings," Jake revealed. "But you two have always been perfect together. One could never tell that something is wrong," I said. He shrugged. "The truth is that we got married so young. We had kids and then had to raise them. After that, we worked hard for our careers." "But then why did you kiss me back?" "Because I felt it even if I was drunk," I asked. "Let us be clear. I have never looked at you in that way before. You have always been my son's friend, which is why it is so weird that I am attracted to you," he said. "Have you ever even been attracted to guys before?" I asked. I have always been bi-curious but scared to date guys. I got with Mary before I tried anything. I grew up in a different time. Being attracted to guys was nothing new, but not everyone was up with the program. But that night, I don't know. Seeing you like that without a shirt, and the way you were looking at me, I could not help it, he confessed. So right after that, she decided to leave you, I said. We decided to split. It is not working out. We love each other, but love is not enough. That was still so impulsive. I do not want it to ruin things between us. I still need your guidance with my career, I told him. I understand what you mean and I still want to help you out, Jake responded. Lately, you are the only person who I feel understands me. Ever since that night you let me stay here after that huge fight with my dad about my career, you have made me feel safe, I confessed. You deserve to feel safe, he said. I smiled at him, feeling much better about all that had happened. So, what do we do now? I asked. The silence was deafening. Just then, the doors snapped open. I decided I wanted burgers instead of pizza. The line there was too long, Joseph shouted, and we instantly changed the topic. 1 month later, I was unable to sleep. Tomorrow, I had a very important meeting with a sponsor. This person wanted to pay for my tuition, but I had to impress him. Hopefully, I would get funding and be able to get back to school. Lately, I had been working since my dad said I have to start contributing to the house. I hardly had time for myself. Aside from regular texts with my best friend who had gone back to work, I had no social life. As I was about to go to bed, I got a text from Jake asking if I was ready for tomorrow. He replied kindly and told me that I didn't have anything to be worried about. He also reminded me that since we had been preparing for it for a while, it should not be okay. I just had to take it easy now. 2 days later, "Son, Jake is here to see you," my mom shouted. I shook off my sleepiness and rushed downstairs. "Hey," I said. "Hey, you were not answering your phone. Everything okay?" he asked. "Come upstairs," I said to him. Once we were upstairs, I told him to take a seat, but he was looking at me strangely. "Why does your face look swollen? What did your dad do? Did he touch you?" He stood up very fast. I shook my head. He said I can go, but he is going to sell my car to cover the money I will not be paying toward his debt. I smiled bitterly. "So you got the sponsorship?" he asked. "Yeah, it covers everything, including room and board, 30 minutes from here," I said. "I am so proud of you. You have no idea," he said. "It is only thanks to you. Thanks for caring," I said. He had honestly been my safe space the past few weeks. "No problem. Anything for you." We looked into each other's eyes for a moment. I got a bit overwhelmed and suddenly attacked him with a hug. He fell over and started laughing. I lifted my head so that I was looking at him. His laugh was the heartiest it had been in weeks. His divorce was brutal. She wanted half of everything. "Sorry, I must be crushing you," I said as I got off him. "I think I can handle you," he replied. I got up very quickly and looked away to hide my blush. "I made some food. Please join us for lunch." I changed the topic. "I can never say no to your cooking." He smiled. 3 months later. "Okay, this heat is killing me. Thank goodness you have a pool." I sighed as I slowly made my way into the pool, wincing at the coldness. "Well, at least you can keep me company. I have been miserable," Joseph said. "I am sorry about the divorce. I hope you have been holding up well," I said. "Surviving. My mom wants me to get a job in her city. She says there were better companies." He sighed. "She is even further than where you are working now. Why does it feel like she wants to turn you against him?" "I know, she is crazy." He looked down at my phone. "Hey, your phone keeps on buzzing. Who is this new guy you have been seeing? And do not go underwater just to hide your blush." He laughed. "No one," I said, trying to keep a straight face. I was lying through my teeth. Jake had helped me to move into my dorm because my dad was sulking. My mom helped as much as she could, but she could not do too much. Since I was not that far from where Jake stayed, and I often had to come to town, I saw him often. We had also been training together on the weekends. It all started that one night when I noticed he viewed one of my Instagram stories. It was 3 in the morning, so I messaged him asking why he was awake. I asked if I could join him, and he agreed that that'd be cool. So I started to join him for runs so that I could get into shape. I read somewhere that it helped with stress, and boy was I stressed. I was doing well in my program, but I was not the best. Running helped me to feel focused. Those extended to us doing workouts together. One evening after a long workout, something happened. I was stressed about dinner with my parents, so I first met up with Jake. Lately, my feelings for him had been developing. He always listened to me, supported me, and cared for me. He was so much better than anyone else that I dated in the past. However, I had to remind myself that he was not into me so many times. Sometimes it felt like that, but sometimes it felt like he regretted that kiss. "Thank you for today," I said, as I gave him a side hug. He had just gotten out of their shower and smelled so good. He pulled me in a bit tighter, and I just surrendered to him. When we pulled away, we looked into each other's eyes, and we kissed again. This time, it was more intense and passionate than the last time. There was no one home, no one who could walk in, and he had nothing tying him to Mary. He seemed to realize that because before I left, we kissed again. Our conversations have since taken a flirty turn, but we decided not to tell my best friend. We wanted to wait till he was divorced. We were not even sure how long this was going to last. Also, what would my parents say about all this? Now, in the present, as Joseph asked me questions, I did my best to deflect. I was not ready for him to know the truth. I finished up my swim and decided to make my way back into the house. "You better mop up where you are dripping," Jake's voice suddenly said. I smiled and turned around. I went and gave him a quick peck, knowing that Joseph was still by the pool. "Ooh, sorry about that. I must have not dried properly," I said, as I made sure to press my palms on his dry shirt. I smirked, as he realized that I had just made him wet. "Not funny," he said, but his eyes said something else. "You can just make me run an extra lap later." I leaned closer to him as I whispered. I heard his breathing get shorter. It was so adorable how the smallest things could catch him off guard. I often teased him about how he always acted calmly, but was not the calmest person in my presence. "Oh, so you have not only been getting fit, but you have been sleeping with my father as well," Joseph suddenly said. I jumped out of Jake's arms. Gosh, this time he caught us. We were trying so hard to be good, but each day was more difficult. Whenever we were at the table together, I had to fight not to look at him too long. "Oh, do not stop on my account. I have had my suspicions," he said. "I can explain," I tried to say. "Leave. I have to talk to my dad," he said. I did not have to be asked twice. I have never gotten dressed so fast in my life. The tension in my room was thick, and I had never seen Joseph so serious before. "I am so sorry," I said, as I left, but he did not respond. A couple of days later, "I can leave him. Please do not end our friendship," I said to Joseph. He had finally agreed to meet after ignoring me for days. "No, I need space right now. This is too much," he smiled sadly. I felt a lump in my throat. "No, not like this." He then caught me off guard by pulling me in for a hug. Before I could say something, he was already walking back to his car. The words I wanted to say were caught in my throat. His sister, Sarah, stood in front of the car and didn't give me a second glance. I was aware that I'd ruined my friendship with her too. "I should have been a better friend," I said to no one. "You tried?" a familiar voice said. I turned around and saw Jake. "What are you doing here?" I asked. "Joseph said that he was coming to see you before he left town. I think we should give him time to process this. But I do not think we should break up," he said. "But he hates us," I protested. "The damage is already done. To be honest, you have made me feel more alive lately than I have in ages. I know that there is an age gap, but I still really like you," he admitted. "But you lost your son and your wife over me," I protested. "Joseph will come around. My marriage was already over. I was literally going mad in that house alone. I always looked forward to our hangouts, he confessed. I thought about it for a second and did not answer him. Fine, but we are going to have to take this slow, I said. Okay, would you want to go on a first date with me? He asked. Yes, I would love to. I smiled up at him. It sure looked like it would take us a good time to move forward, but I was willing to take that risk now that so much had already happened in our lives. What better time to start than now? Conclusion. Joseph moved to his mom's city and started work there. I ended up hitting him up again, and we went back to civil terms. I ended up becoming more distant from my parents and their drama. They ended up finding out about the relationship, but I did not care about their reaction. Jake and I maintained a relationship. We took it slow, but it worked out. The end. Did Joseph overreact by cutting off his friend in the end? Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing to become a part of our Rainbow Force and to stay wholesome.